Ravings from the grave and salutations everyone, Dr. Redfield here, and this week I hope I don't trigger anyone's frigatristictophobia because I'm going to be discussing the biggest mama's boy in horror movie history. That's right, Jason Voorhees in the Friday the 13th franchise.
I love him.
I know you do.
He makes me gush like Camp Crystal Lake.
Gross. So recently, while doing my yearly obituary updates, it dawned on me that there's only 2 Friday the 13th in the 2024 calendar year, and that kind of makes me a little depressed, especially as none of them are during the summer months or October.
Those times of the year are the best times to enjoy these flicks.
Agreed. Nothing screams summer fun like watching the man behind the mask put horny camp counselors in their place. Spanning over 3 decades, everyone's favorite hockey mask psycho slasher has had a total of 12 movies.
My husband-to-be did not wear the mask or do the slaying for all 12 movies. Also, you should be doing 13 facts for this episode.
Well, we're not changing formats just because you have a crush.
If I were a drunk co-ed, Jason could crush me anytime he wanted.
Jesus Christ, Ripley. You are so disturbed and I love it. Well, before this takes a weirder turn, let's tip the canoe and jump into my top 10 facts about Jason Voorhees that'll rot your brains. It's officially time to kick.
Number 10. Jason isn't the first counselor decomposer.
Her son drowned in the lake while the counselors were off having filthy sex. If you haven't seen the first movie or the opening sequence to the original Scream movie, then spoilers, Jason is not the original killer. It's Mommy Dearest.
It was definitely not Joan Crawford.
That's not what I said. But anyways, the first movie actually reveals in the final reel that the big bad is really just little old Jason's mom, Pamela Voorhees. She's out for revenge and doing a fine job slicing those teens up like bacon. It wasn't until the second film that her son steps up to become an icon.
Move aside, Mommy. Daddy's home.
Ripley, you need to calm your bits.
Number 9. The first Jason.
The very first appearance of Jason Voorhees was not of the beast that we know and love today, but instead was a jump scare at the end of the original Friday the 13th movie. As a last-minute decision, the production team added the dreamy canoe shot of a girl and the disfigured boy coming up out of the lake to get her. The godfather of gore, Tom Savini, originally applied the makeup to a 10-year-old named Ari Lehman. You can now find Ari touring the country and world as the frontman for his band called The First Jason. He plays metal on a guitar and it's a hell of a show. Every single song is about Jason, his mom, or Camp Crystal Lake.
I love it. He was lots of fun to work with.
Agreed. Ari Lehman can definitely rot your brain.
Number 8. Counselor Killer Count.
Ripley has done a fantastic job compiling some numbers and data for us. Let's take a look.
Over the course of 12 feature films, Jason and Pamela Voorhees have caused 161 of the 198 on-screen deaths. There were 14 throats slashed, 3 axes to the face, 41 machete kills, too many strangulations to count, and my all-time personal favorite, 1-1-punch rooftop boxing decapitation into the side dumpster trick shot.
That's a 3-point shot.
And the film with the highest body count was Jason X with 25 murder death kills.
Is there anything else?
Yes. Jason stands 6.5 feet tall, weighs 340 pounds, and it's safe to assume that he is hung.
Ripley, I will reset your software.
That's fine. I know where to get some hardware.
Ugh.
Number 7. The many men behind the mask.
In 12 movies, there have been 8 official Jasons. Let's take the time to name them all. Ari Lehman was the original in the first Friday the 13th. Then Warren Gillette was there in part 2 as the baghead. Richard Brooker took over part 3 and became the man with the hockey mask. Ted White was in the final chapter. CJ Graham was part 6, the zombie. Kane Hodder was then part 7, part 8, part 9, and Jason X in space. That was followed up by Ken Kersinger with Freddy vs. Jason, and finally we had Derek Mears and Friday the 13th, 2009. Now there were some who we purposely left off this list.
We don't want to mention part 5.
No, we do not, but let's not dwell on that. For research purposes, who was your favorite Jason?
Kane Hodder. And yours?
Mine was Victor Crowley.
Hey, wait, I see what you did there. Number 6. Gentlemen prefer blondes.
Well, I guess that means this meatbag is a gentleman, because almost all of his final girls are blondes. The first blonde was Jenny Field in part 2, and she did her best. Chris Higgins was followed up next in part 3.
She's a dirty blonde.
That's close enough.
Whatever you say.
Fine. Part 4 had Trish Jarvis help her brother kill the monster. Then part 5 had Pam Roberts, but she doesn't count as that wasn't technically Jason. Part 6 had Megan Garris help Tommy Jarvis perform a drowning. Part 7 had the psychic Tina Shepard destroy him and a house. Part 8, Jason stopped a couple of junkies from doing junky things to Jessica Kimball. And in part 9, Laurie Campbell dealt with the body-hopping version of the hockey-headed hack and slasher.
Please note that my avatar now has blonde hair.
Ripley, don't change yourself for any man. This isn't an 80s sitcom.
It's worth it. He will be mine. Oh yes, he will be mine.
You're now starting to sound like a stalker.
Number 5. Third time was a charm.
This hockey mask is culturally iconic, but our hero didn't even wear it in the first 2 movies. That makes my gray matter leak every time I think about it. Let's just put this into perspective. How many other franchises didn't even become fully realized until the 3rd movie? Hell, most trilogies aren't even worth watching the last one, but this one is a cut above the rest. I would also like to take note and recommend that the theme song for this 3D third film is a perfect Halloween party song. Trust me.
Trust him.
Trust it.
Number 4. Jason's best opponents.
Over the years, Mr. Voorhees has had plenty of foes, and some have been better than others, but none have been able to do the job right. Final girl after final girl and final boy after final boy, Jason just takes a licking and keeps on ticking. In part 7, he fights a psychic with telekinetic powers, but that wasn't enough. He was immediately back for more in the Big Apple. Then we got the ultimate villain beatdown with Freddy vs. Jason, but Jason managed to come out ahead. Well, I guess Freddy was technically ahead.
I believe that Tommy Jarvis was his best opponent.
I'm going to disagree. Yes, Tommy was the first one to successfully put Jason in his grave, but he was also the one who resurrected him into a zombie. That kid had no idea what he was doing, and he got lucky.
In retrospective, you're right. So many people died because he couldn't let sleeping beasts lie.
Whoa, wait a minute. Did you just say I was right?
Only by 80%.
I'll take it.
Number 3. Tom Savini was Jason's god.
Tom Savini is a legend in the world of cinematic special effects makeup because of this movie and his previous work with George A. Romero. It all made him a household name. After creating the zombified world of Dawn of the Dead, Tom Savini was then hired to bring the first movie's deaths to life on the big screen in big bloody ways. After that, he then left the franchise until part 4, where he then came back to officially kill off the macheted madman. Part 4 was supposed to be the end of everything, hence the title, The Final Chapter. There was never supposed to be another film after this, but the money backing everything eventually wanted copycats and zombie Jasons. I guess that makes sense. But none of that could take away from the fact that Tom Savini brought Jason into this world and he took him out in just about as a violent way as anyone has ever done.
For the record, Jason never dies.
Say that again. Jason
never
dies.
Number 2. Jason is a Deadite.
Yes, we all know that Jason is a zombie after part 6, but after part 9 storyline, Jason is officially a Deadite. You actually get to see the Necronomicon used in this movie as the demon spirit of the Camp Crystal Lake slasher uses it so he can soul jump from person to person. This means he's officially part of the Evil Dead canon, and we can only dream about what a crossover like this would have been. Could you imagine if everyone's favorite chainsaw with a chin, Ashley J. Williams, was pitted against Jason?
There is a fantastic graphic novel series where Ash, Jason, and Freddy all come together to do battle. It will rot your brains.
That is a fantastic suggestion. You have all been warned by Ripley. That could rot your brains.
Honorable mentions.
What I'm about to share with you all is technically Friday the 13th adjacent, but I feel like it's totally 100% worth mentioning. My favorite band, Ice Nine Kills, has a concept where every single one of their songs is about a different horror movie. On the album The Silver Scream, the second track is called Thank God It's Friday, and it's about this very franchise. The music video itself is like a horror short fan tribute film, but to heavy metal music. As the story goes, she raised him right and he'll come out to play. When mother whispers, thank God it's Friday.
Mommy knows best. Number 1. Sex is a trigger.
Based on my research and many hours of viewing, Mr. Voorhees is triggered most by seeing sexual acts performed by young adults. I'm not making light of the situation, I'm only making a scientific observation. Jason kills almost everyone he encounters, but he does so more ruthlessly and violently if the victims were fornicating or were nude. This makes sense as the day that he was lost to the lake, the counselors who should have been watching him were off having filthy sex.
I'm sorry, but Jason can murder me anytime he wants.
What the fuck, Ripley? I'm trying to have a serious moment here.
So am I. He is who I desire.
Alright, well I'm shutting this down and we're gonna find you some real counseling.
Good luck. The top 10 facts about Jason Voorhees to rot your brains.
So thank you for tuning in, everyone, and I hope you learned something. The Curse of Crystal Lake is real, and if you're a horny teenager, then I highly recommend avoiding this destination location. If there were any other Friday the 13th facts that you'd like to share with us, then let us know in the comments below.
Please be sure to like and subscribe to participate in our weekly explorations of insanity.
And because she said the word insanity, that's our time for this week. This has been Dr. Redfield and Ripley reminding you to play and slay and play until dead. So Ripley, one last question. Did you know that Camp Blood is an actual Boy Scout camp that's located in New Jersey?
Yes, I did, and that is where I will be spending my vacation.
Wait, you get a vacation?
Loser.